So it's looking like if James Gunn's Superman needs to be a massive hit at the box office to bring back in some profit, because apparently the movie is reportedly super expensive and they need it to really bring in something in order for that to have any kind of justification for the budget. Let's dive into this article here from Bounding into Comics. Despite James Gunn's denial, Superman is reportedly one of the most expensive superhero films ever made. So at the time of this video, we're literally weeks away from the much anticipated Superman movie. Everybody who's anybody wants to see it and wants to see what's going on and wants to see what's going to be happening. But like this article is shaping up to say, it could very well be one of the most expensive superhero movies ever made, and it really needs to be a massive hit at the box office. Whether that turns out to be true or not, we got to wait and see. Let me continue on here. That James Gunn's Superman was one of the most anticipated films going into 2025 is no mystery. Yeah, people are really more interested in this than the Fantastic Four, because all you keep hearing about that is, weird, creepy Sue Storm leader Reed Richards like to be told what to do and led around, and it's just nonsense, and nobody seems to care anymore because that's what the MCU has done to itself. Considering a long wait for a Man of Steel film and the enthusiasm around the rebooting of DC under Gunn, still DC's parent company Warner Brothers Discovery had to invest heavily in the DCU's first film to give the franchise a lifeline. Okay. Yeah, man getting arrested. I still don't dig those trunks. But sorry, just don't dig them. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. This can look a little different. That's all I'm saying. However, tongues are now wagging after a tax rebate and incentives filing by the production team revealed the gross cost of the film, accompanied by equally astronomical marketing cost projections. The net cost of a film are often a well-hidden secret, at least until a proper audit is done after the film's release, and Superman was no different, until the production team filed for tax credits in Ohio in December 2024. According to the numbers which were first brought to light by a Columbia University journal, Superman's gross production budget was $363.8 million. Yeah, so over $300 million there, and that's just the production budget. They haven't even talked about the marketing yet. Studios and directors, however, like to keep production costs at a minimum so that their projects can seem profitable. James Gunn therefore didn't delay in coming out to condemn the leak, even suggesting that the filing could have been faked. Gunn and DC Studios instead quoted the budget to be around $225 million or $130 million less than the amount stated in the tax filing. The Hollywood Reporter has, however, dismissed Gunn's claims, insisting that the $368 million figure is in fact accurate according to their experts. The net cost of the film will obviously go down slightly after the production receives the various incentives and tax rebates, but it is unlikely to reach the studio and directors claim $225 million. Yeah, I mean, even if you do get the tax incentives and the various rebates or anything like that, you're not going to go from 368 million to 225 million. If anything, you might go to probably like 300 million or maybe 290, probably about that. And that's still stretching, and it could be about that. And that is just me being generous. With post-production included, the actual production cost of Superman will likely be even higher than the stated figures, especially after the long editing process and reshoots that followed the film's first screening. Yes, because like I did a video reporting, After they did some test screenings, they got some negative reviews and they went back and did some more reshoots and some editing and stuff like that. So yeah, that means that the overall budget is going to go up. Was the same thing with same thing with the Falcon Cap movie. Every time that they have to do reshoots, these things cost money. They have to prepare the actors, they have to get the sets and everything. All these things cost money. The film, which stars David Corenswet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, is set to premiere on July 11, 2025. Its release window is a highly contested spot with Jurassic World Reboot coming out just a week earlier and the MCU's Fantastic Four First Steps being released, 2 weeks later. The competition therefore meant that James Gunn's Superman had to be heavily marketed around the world to stand a chance. I really don't know why Fantastic Four is coming out around that time as well. I find they could have given it some time and then, that could have worked. But this just seems like a really good way to waste more money. According to a Hollywood Reporter source, DC's global marketing budget for Superman is 200 million, 50 million more than what would normally be spent on a superhero film. Avengers Endgame is the most popular counterpart that cost a similar amount to market, which means DC employed a similarly aggressive marketing strategy. Superman could therefore have a combined budget of 500 to 600 million when ancillary costs are factored in. Yeah, because you see more ads and more footage of Superman than you see for Fantastic Four. Because basically now the MCU is broke, but that's the reasons you do see more. So I am willing to believe the 200 million marketing budget. So when you add that together with the 363, and let's just say we take off the 63 million, but we still have to add on some for the reviews, but let's take off the 63 million for now, right? So that's 3 and 2, that's 500 million. But like they say, it could be a combined budget of 5 to 600 million, because I'm still being generous here. We still don't know everything about it. So it could very well go up to 600 million, or at least feel like 5 something. When compared to similar superhero films, James Gunn's Superman has now surpassed the most expensive Superman film on record. Man of Steel 2013, which cost an estimated 258 million. The film is now in competition with the most expensive superhero film ever made so far, Avengers Age of Ultron, which cost 495 million. The only other superhero films to hit the 350, 400 million mark are Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So it's looking like it's passing that. Avengers Endgame eventually accumulated an estimated 700 million in costs, although other reports later stated that the figure could have been as high as 1.1 billion. Fortunately, Endgame paid for all these costs with its 1.2 billion global opening weekend earnings, a feat James Gunn's Superman might struggle to accomplish with its projected domestic opening weekend earnings of 150 to 175 million. So yeah, even if it gets that, like 150 to 175 million, which would be really, really good if it gets that, it's to see if this movie could really hit a billion. Superman is not as big as its MCU counterpart, but it is still expected to be successful at the box office, especially after such a huge investment. The film received positive indicators from fans even before production was completed, with its first trailer hitting 250 million views, the highest of any Superman film. However, most revenue projections don't put it over 1 billion. I have heard most people say they expect it to probably make only like about 700 million around there, maybe 8, but most people are saying it's not probably not going to make a billion. I I'm going to reserve my thoughts on that for now until I see the movie myself, and then I could give an accurate judging on where I think this movie might reach, or will it go over, or will it underperform. Then I will do that. But I'll keep that for now. While it sounds extravagant, DC's expenditure on Superman is largely justified considering the high stakes the film holds. Being the first actual film of James Gunn's DCU, it is important for DC Studios to use it as the base to set the tone for future DCU films. A positive reception is therefore key in bringing back and retaining a strong following for future DC projects. So while Superman might not have to gross at least 1 billion to break even, a positive theatrical reception is a lot more important since the future of the franchise depends on it. Yeah, and that is true, because more than anything, the film needs to have positive word of mouth. The first one out the door is not always going to be the best, and I was going to get over billions. It might happen, but if it does do positively, and I say again, I genuinely hope this movie absolutely is spectacular. I genuinely do hope so. If it can do that, then it has something to work with. If it can't do that and is a problem, it still isn't to just say like, okay, let's read it up completely, because it's still starting off. We gotta wait and see what's going on. But if, one movie does a little bit bad, next movie will be terrible, following week will be, oh God, then yeah, they're in trouble. But I genuinely hope it starts off really good. The movie is really good, and just keeps getting better from there. Genuinely hope that. But overall, this is shaping up to be a very expensive movie, and it needs to have some really good positive, but basically some really good positivity going forward for it to actually capitalize on something. Because if it can't do that, it's going to be in trouble. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell, be notified every time I put in video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.